Hi, good morning everyone. My name is Dalton Gan and today I'm going to be teaching you guys how to create your own Discord bot with Gemini API. I'm sorry that I have to re-record the video because the workshop that day has a lot of delays and I didn't manage to finish the workshop on time. So this is a complete guide from start to finish on how to create the whole bot with all of the commands as well as all of the Gemini's capability. And this is the slides that I've prepared on that day. So a short introduction. I am Dalton Gan, I'm 21 years old, and I'm studying software engineering in year 2 Sem 2 degree. I love Valorant, badminton, and coding, and I'm an introvert. I spent a lot of time preparing this workshop, and I hope you guys enjoy it as much as I did. Now, before we start, we're going to be learning about the Discord developer portal, the bot configuration, event listeners / commands, interacting with different APIs, as well as incorporating Gemini Pro and Pro Vision into our Discord bot. Lastly, we're going to be claiming our Discord developer badge after 24 hours, which will look something like this on your Discord profile. Now, before we start, please scan this QR code in order to get the material needed for this class. You will be directed into a Notion link in which you'll find all the code as well as all the instructions and explanations on each and everything that you need to know about this workshop. Without further ado, please ensure that your VS Code as well as your Node.js is installed on your computer. In order for you to check the installation, please go to your command prompt and then type node space -v and as well as npm space -v. Okay. Yeah, so by right, if there's a version that comes out, then you should be fine. The version itself doesn't really matter. You're possibly gonna have a newer version than mine, but it's still gonna work the same. So without further ado, let's begin. So also, if you guys haven't downloaded download Node.js or VS Code, please go to our website to the bottom here. You'll see that there's an installation guide here. If you click on it, it will redirect you to a PDF in which we have prepared for you to install both the dependencies. Okay? Alright, now first step is you have to open a new tab and go to Discord Developer Portal. Enter. So you'll see on the first thing it says Discord Developer Portal. Click on that and then click on Application on the left hand side. As you can see here, I've already created 4 different types of bots, but I'm going to be creating one from scratch with you today. So let's go to the top to the new application button. Let's create this bot. I'll call it Teddy. And then after that, it's going to bring me into the Teddy application. As you can see, I'm in my Teddy application. So over here, I want to create a new avatar. So I have prepared a Teddy avatar. I think it's somewhere here, this one. So this is Teddy. And as I put the picture here, it's also going to be put under bot. Okay, let me save changes first. Alright, and if I go to bot, it's also going to be using the same image, and the bot is going to be called Teddy. So under the bot section, please go to the public bot area and change this to private. And please go to the privilege gateway intent and enable all 3 of these. And click Save Changes. After you have done so, you can ignore the bottom here and then go to OAuth2. Under the OAuth2 section, you will see that there is this part called OAuth2 URL generator. At the URL generator, click on bot and click on application command, as well as click on, under the bot permission here, click on administrator. So in total, you'll have 3 buttons ticked, and the top here, you don't have to touch anything. So go all the way down here and click on copy. Okay, after you have copied this, please go to your Discord server and then open a new server. So I'm gonna click on add a server, create my own for me and my family, and I'm just gonna call this Teddy's server. Before we paste the link here, we need to make sure that this is a community server, or else we won't be able to get the Discord developer badge. So let's go to server setting, let's go to Enable Community, and let's click on Get Started. Alright, now that it's done, you'll see that this is now a community server. Now, paste the link here. You should be able to see that right now only I'm in the server. So if I click on this link, it will actually invite Teddy to my server. So I'll select the Teddy server and click continue and authorize. Okay, so now Teddy is in my server. So the next step we need to do is to get it online. So from this part, we can actually close it already because we no longer need anything. So let me double check if I have missed anything. No, I didn't. Okay, so you guys can basically leave this page open, but minimize it. Okay, now I'm on the home page, on my desktop. I'm going to create a new folder. You guys can create this folder in any of your drive. Usually I prefer it to create it in my D drive, but you can create it on your desktop as well. So for simplicity's sake, I'm going to create here. I'm going to name it Teddy, and I'm going to put it under my other folder. So I'll just put it here. So click into Teddy, open the folder, and then click on the path. So over here at the top here, click on the path and type cmd, enter. You should be able to have the location or the directory towards the Teddy's folder. Here you type code dot. After typing code dot, your VS Code should open, and it should be open in the Teddy directory. So as you can see here, there is no files because the directory is empty, but we are going to begin setting up our bot. So don't worry. So first of all, what we need to do is go to terminal, go to new terminal, and click on this one, click new terminal. So I'm currently using bash, but the command are the same for you if you're using PowerShell. So first we need to type npm init, which stands for initialize -y. -y stands for saying yes to everything. So it's going to create a package.json file on the left hand side here. Alright, so in this package.json file, as you can see, it has all the details about our software as well as the main file. So this main file, I'm actually going to change it to src/index.js. And after I change it to src/index.js, I'm going to create a new folder called src. And I'm going to create a file inside that folder called index.js. Alright, so that's all you need to do for now. Now the next step is actually to learn a little bit about JavaScript basics. I'm not going to cover JavaScript basics in this tutorial. You can go ahead and search online for any courses to take on the JavaScript basics, like declaring variable or creating functions. This workshop is going to be focused on creating the bot itself. So the first thing we need to do is installing the dependency. So go back to your terminal here. If your terminal is closed, remember, go to the top, click new terminal. Alternatively, you can click Ctrl+J on your keyboard to open your terminal. Now, I'm going to type npm install. I stands for install, discord.js, spacebar, dotenv, dot environment, space, nodemon, nodemon. Okay. Oh, actually, I'm not going to install nodemon for now. Let me just install these two first. After you install this, you will see that there's the package slot and also node module here. In package.json, you'll be able to see discord.js as well as .env now. And lastly, we need to install nodemon, so npm install -g nodemon. Alright, so now that we have nodemon, we need to run nodemon in our server. So all we need to do now is, hey, don't run nodemon yet. Don't run nodemon yet. Just close your terminal, close your package.json, and go to your index.js file. Alright, so in your index.js file, type const, open the structure, and import client as well as intent with an s, bit, field. from the discord.js library, like that. Okay. And the second thing is constant. Okay, I will space one time, constant, and bot equals to new client. Okay, so first of all, we are actually importing the client as well as the intense bits field from the discord.js library. Client is actually our bot, and intense bits field is the privilege that the bot have. So the privilege to view message, the privilege to access the members or listen to events, these are called intense bits field. So we need to open a object inside the client, and we need to type intense and open an array. Inside this array, we type intense bit field dot flags dot dot guild. Okay. Now guild allow us to access the server, allow our bots to access the server. The second line is intense bit field dot flags dot guild members. Guild members allow us to access the members on that server. Intense bit field dot flag dot guild messages. Guild messages allow us to access the messages in the channel. And last one, intense bit field dot flag dot message content. So message content allows us to access the content of the message in that server. So if you have any comments here, for example, this is a comment, please remove your comment, because if you leave a comment inside, the bot will not be able to run. Alright? Now, after you're done with this, click on save and go back to your Discord developer portal over here. So I'm in my Teddy app again. Go into bot, go into your reset token button. Do you see here? Under the bot section, there is a reset token. Click on it and click yes to it. So it's asking me to authenticate my action. So let me go to my phone and let me authenticate it. So it's 933-789. Alright, so this is my token. Let me copy that token. And let me go into my Discord and create a new file. Okay, not under src, but at the root folder called .env. .environment. And I'm gonna type bot token equals to paste. Okay? Again, that's bot token equals to paste. Save this file, go back to index.js, and at the top here, I'm gonna type require.env.config. Okay? This is gonna give us access to our .env variables here. Now, over here, please click bot.login and then paste the process.env.botToken. Like that. Okay? So essentially, we are asking the bot to log in using the password, which is stored inside the env file, which is this one, mtixnnj blah blah blah, and we're accessing it through the .env process. Now, after that, bot.on. Okay, bot.on is actually an event listener, and this event listener listens for an event to happen. So if you click inside the quotation and click Control plus spacebar, you'll be able to see all these different event listeners that you can access. Right now, we need to type ready, basically when the bot is ready, and then we need to return an object, have a callback function, and this callback function will say console.log bot is online. But we don't want the bot to be bot. We want it to be the actual name of our bot. So let's give it a callback with a name of bot. And then let's go to here. Make sure that this is not quotation and this is tilde. And type $, and then open this string literal. And then put bot dot user dot username is online. Can put a semicolon afterwards and then click on save. So upon saving and open your terminal, so terminal, new terminal, and then type node mon. You should be able to see that Teddy is online. So I'm going to actually add an emoji here. So that is green color like that. So it's going to say Teddy is online with a green color tick. And as you can see, Teddy is now online in my Discord server. Alright, So now that's done, we managed to get Teddy online. We are going to create a few actions that Teddy can perform. So first of all, we're going to create this thing called, oh, by the way, if you guys cannot use NodeMon, please go and search up this command called set execution policy unrestricted. So essentially, right, you have to go into your command prompt. Wait, hold on. You have to go into your command prompt, CMD here, and then you have to type this one, get execution policy. So currently for mine, it's gonna say, oh, sorry, not command prompt. Go to your terminal, right click, run as administrator, and then you see there's a PowerShell here, right? So click on get execution policy, enter. It will say unrestricted for me. That's why I can run NodeMon. But if your NodeMon is blocked, it means that your computer is restricted. So please set the set and execution policy unrestricted. Paste it inside here and click enter. I won't click enter for now because mine is already unrestricted. But you should click enter, and then it will set it to unrestricted, and you can run NodeMon. Alright, other than that, let's continue. So creating a message listener. Alright, so we need to basically let our bot listen to our message, right? So let's create another listener called bot.on. And this time we're going to create a listener called message create. And this message create is going to take in a message object, and it's going to call back a function. And this function is going to check if the author of the message is a bot. So if it's a bot, I'll ignore it. If it's a human, then I will have to serve it, okay? So this essentially stops an infinite loop in case a bot replies to itself, which will happen sometimes. So let's prevent that first. Second, it's going to handle a message. So if, let's say, message, okay, instead of that, let's just type console.log message.content, right? So if we do this, and we go to our server and type, let's say, hi Teddy, like that. Over here at our console, you'll see hi Teddy, because it's essentially console logging the message object that's being returned by the Discord to our app and the content inside that message. So now that we know that this directly matches what we type here, so if we type enter, it's going to directly matches here. So we can do an if statement. So if message.content is equal to, let's say, chippy, then I'm going to reply chapa, like that. So this is a simple example on how the bot can respond to specific messages. So for example, if I type like meow, there's nothing gonna happen. But if I type chippy, the bot is going to reply with chapa. So that's how the bot knows when to reply, because it has a specific command that listens to chippy. Alright, but it's kind of boring that we keep replying the same thing, because whenever we type chippy, it's going to only reply chapa. So let's randomize the content that it can reply. So for example, if I say, let's say, good bear, Teddy should basically reply with yay, right? Teddy should be like happy, right? But I want the happy to be different. So instead of writing like yay like that, I want it to be random. So in order for me to do that, okay, let me just try it first in Discord. So if I type good bear, it's gonna say yay, but it's gonna say yay all the time, which is boring. So let me randomize the reply. So let me go to our src folder here, create a new folder in src called features. And in the features, I'm going to create a new file called random.js. So random.js is actually going to randomize the reply that comes back from responding here. So let me create a function cheer. So this cheer function is going to have an array called let reply equals to an array, and the reply is going to be, let's say, yay, like that. That's the first reply. The second is Teddy is so smart. And then third one is like, woohoo. The fourth one is, oh really? And then the last one is, thank you dad, like that. Oh, I forgot to put a comma here. And let me just add one more, which is like, I know I'm great, like that. So these are the replies that Teddy can respond with as long as we call the cheer function. Now, in order for me to reply a random reply, we need to type let random index. For me, I'm just going to name it random index equals to math.floor math.random times replies dot line. Okay, let me explain what this code does. Essentially, what it does is math.random gives us a number from 0 to 1, right? And it's exclusive of 1. So that means you can get 0 to 0.9999999 times reply.length. Currently there's 6, so that is going to give us a range from 0 to 6, but exclusive of 6. That means it's going to give us a range from 0 to 5.99999. Okay. Now after that, we need to floor the value because index cannot have decimal. So floor is going to reduce the number from, let's say, 5.99999. Instead of rounding it to 6, which will be out of bound, it's going to round it to just 5, like that. And 5 is going to refer to the last item in the list because this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's what floor does. It's basically returning the floor value of the decimal. And lastly, we need to return replies, open a square bracket, and random index. That's what we need to do. Over here, we type module.export equals to open the destructurer and then put in the cheer function. So if I name it cheer because it's the same as the function. So save that, go back to here and click on constant cheer equals to require dot slash feature slash random.js. So it's found, I'm importing the cheer function from the random.js file inside the features folder. After that's done, we need to just basically message.reply. Instead of writing yay, just type cheer, like that. So now that it's done, right, if I go back to Discord and I type good bear, it's going to say yay. Now if I type good bear again, it's going to say I know I'm great, and I type good bear again. Oh, okay, it's giving yay again, but wait, how come it's only 2? Okay, nah, never mind. So there is different random reply. So as you can see, it's actually going to reply all 6 types lah, but I don't know why it's replying yay and I know I'm great so many times. But yeah, it's supposed to be random, and it is random. So that's pretty much it for the message part. So let's create the slash command. Slash command listener. Okay, before I create slash command listener, let's go to our new file here and create command.js. And in command.js, this is where we're gonna register all of our commands. So first, I want you to go to your Discord and go to your user profile and go to your advanced here and enable this thing called developer mode. So after enabling the developer mode, go to the server setting, go to the widget over here, click on copy the server ID. After you copy the server ID, go to environment here, click on server ID equals to paste. Okay, after you paste your server ID into your Discord environment file, go back to your Discord, right click on your bot, click on copy user ID, and then type bot ID equals to paste. So now that you have your server ID and your bot ID, as well as your bot secret, which is your login password to your bot, you are pretty much ready to go. So go to your command.js file and type require.env.config. So this is going to give you access to our .environment files. And after that, type const res equals to res routes equal to require. Let me delete this. Discord.js. Alright, So we're basically requiring the REST function as well as the route function. So REST is for us to call APIs, and route is for us to determine where to call the API. Now we're gonna create a command. So const command is equal to open a object name. Let's call this command hey, and description. Let's call this command replies with hi, for example. You know. And then this is just an example. We're going to create complicated commands later on. So const res equals to new res. And let's create a version 10 dot set token. And this token is going to be our bot's password. So it will be process.env.bot token with a semicolon at the end. Now that's done. I want you guys to create an anonymous function. So anonymous function essentially is a function without a name. So you know how greet is a function with a name called greet, right? Anonymous function has no name. So it's just 2 brackets. And in the first bracket, open a callback function. And then in that callback function, put async in front of that callback function in small cap. Async callback. And then arrow. Open your curly braces, type try catch. Alright, so now you have a try catch block. I want you to type console.log registering / commands, like that. And then type await rest.put routes.application guild commands with a s process.env dot. Now, instead of typing client ID like how Copilot is saying, just please type bot ID, because your bot is, you have to give them your bot ID, and as well as your process.env.server ID. Okay, that's the 2 things that they are expecting. Oh, let me fix my bracket here. Alright, so you're giving them these 2 things that you've stored in your environment variable, so server ID and bot ID, you're passing it here. And underneath there, you're gonna pass the body called command. Now what command are we giving? This one, this array. So at line number 5, this command, we're throwing it into the body to send it to the routes, to Discord, okay? That's done. Now that's done, we need to go to the bottom here. After the await function, type console.log registered / command with exclamation mark. So this is confirmed. Alright. Now if there's any error, I want to type console.log there was an error, and then just basically put the error message inside that block. Semicolon at the end, and then save. Okay, now I don't want Teddy to be online. I need to shut it off first. So go to your terminal, Control C, click Control C to close it, and then now I want you to run your command.js file. So for me, this file is located inside src feature and command.js. So I'm just going to type node src / features / commands.js like that, and I'm going to enter. It's going to click registering / command and registered / commands. So now I'm just going to type node mon again to refresh my bot, and as you can see, /hey is now an option that I can use in my server. Previously there's no / commands, but now there's /hey. But if I /hey, it's not going to reply with anything. It's going to say that there's an error, so that's normal because we haven't handled the command yet. So go back to your index.js. I want you to create a new event listener called interaction create. So let me just create a new interaction called interaction create. Interaction create essentially just wait for the interaction, which is a / command, to be created. Okay, now this one is going to return an interaction from the front end, and it's going to give us, hold on, oh, it's because I didn't put a douhao. Okay, I didn't put a comma here. Alright, so this interaction is going to return an interaction from the front end. So first of all, we need to check if their interaction is not a command, we don't respond to it. We just return. So it has to be a command. Okay, if it's not a command, in the future, if Discord adds something else that's also an interaction, then we just ignore it. We only care about / command. Now, the second thing we need to add inside here is actually the the interaction. So let's just type console.log interaction. Let's check what it does. .command name. Oops. Okay. So if I type /hey and I click enter, at the back end it's going to say hey, because we're fetching the interaction, the command name of the interaction. So in that case, we can do the similar thing called if interaction.command name equals to hey, like that. Then we just basically interaction.reply with hi, like that. So let's just say hey again, it's going to reply with hi. That's basically how it works. It just replies with hi. Now this is kind of useless because we can essentially do the same at the message create function. So let's create another file that we can use called math. So let's let it calculate some mathematics. So let's go to command.js again, and at the top here, after rest and routes, I want you guys to type application command option type. Okay. After you type that from the required discord.js library, I want you to copy this command here and then put a comma before you paste it, and paste it like this underneath it. So you can see there's two blocks separated by a comma, and under this name block I want you to type mathematic, like math, and this math is going to basically perform a math operation. So this math function is going to perform a calculation. Alright, now there is going to be a new field called option, and this option is going to have a few objects. It's going to have a few objects. So first it's going to be operations, depending on what is it addition, is it a subtraction? That's what we call an operation. We give it a description, and then we give it a type. So the type of this operation is application command option type dot string, like that, not all cap. And then required is equals to true, but we don't use equal, we use colon. And then after this option, first option, we have our second option, which is name is equals to num1, or we can just type first dash number, and the description is going to be the first number. The type is going to be application command option type dot number, and the required is going to be true, like that. And the third one is going to be the second number. The description is going to be the second number. The type is going to be application command option type dot number, and the last is going to be required true. So as you can see here, we actually have we only need to have 3 of these options, and then we will be able to run the file. So let me just show you guys how this looks like. So if I were to control exit the bot and then run my command like this, run my command.js and register the command, you will see that now I have a new function called math, and if I slash math, you see that there are 3 variable here. So in operation I can type add, in the first number I can type 10, and second number I can type 20. So if I miss a field, right, and I try and send, it's going to give me an error. So I need to make sure to put some error value inside. But now it's not going to give me anything since there is nothing to give. We didn't handle the response. But you can see that it's actually quite useful now, since we are able to get the response at the front end. Now, after we're done with the operations here, let's go to operation here and then type choices. Okay, now in the choices section, I want to add a few choices. So the first choice is going to be add, and the value of add is going to be plus, like that. Alright, and then the second one is going to be subtract. The value of it is going to be minus. The third is going to be multiply, the value of it is going to be the asterisk sign, the last is going to be divide, and the value of it is going to be division, the divide symbol, slash symbol. So over here, I'm going to run the file again. As you can see in my front end, if I type slash math, it's going to now have options like add, subtract, multiply, and divide that I can choose from with my keyboard, and I can enter it like that. Okay? And the first number and second number essentially is going to check for whether it's an integer. If it's not an integer, like for example this is a string, it will return an error and it's not going to be able to send. Let me just remove everything. Okay, so now that we're done with this part, let's go back to our Discord and let's create a new file called math.js. Oh, let's create a new file in features called math.js. Okay. Inside the math.js, we need to handle a function. So let's create a function called, yeah. So let's create a function. I'm going to use an arrow syntax this time, so that you guys can learn how to create a function with arrow syntax. So we give the first parameter, which is operation. The second parameter is first number. And the third parameter is second number. So I'm just going to camel case this like that. And we're going to open a curly bracket. Oh, before that, let's give it arrow function. Okay, so now I'm going to use a switch case. So switch operation, case, if it's addition, I want it to be return first number plus second number. Alright? Now case, if it's negative, which is the minus sign, I want it to return first number minus second number. Now third, if it's a multiplication sign, I want it to return the first number times the second number. And lastly, if it's division, I want it to return the first number divide the second number. But before we do that, I need to check if the second number is equal to 0, because if it's equal to 0, we cannot divide, so we're going to return cannot divide by 0, like that. Else we will return first number divide second number. Okay, so in this module we're just going to export it. So module.export equals to math, like that. And after we're done with this, go to our front end index.js, go to the top under the chair, type constant math equals to require dot slash feature slash math, like that. And at the bottom here, under the interaction create, type if interaction dot command name is equal to math. I want you to respond with, first we need to create a operation. So const operation equals to interaction dot option dot get string operation. So essentially what we're doing here is we are basically declaring a new variable called operation, and we're getting that variable from the front end from the option called operation. The option is over here in command.js. Remember the name, we're following the name. So operation, we're going to copy this value, and we're going to paste it inside here, like that. Now after we get that, we need to get our first number as well. So the first number is going to be interaction.option.getNumber first number. So this first number is also mirroring the command.js here. As you can see, the name is called first number, so we're going to be extracting the value from the column called first number. And lastly, we're going to use the second number, and it's going to be interaction.options.getNumber second number, like that. If you guys are wondering why I have a autocomplete, I'm using GitHub Copilot, so that's why. But you guys can do this code without GitHub Copilot, so it's just like a tool that helps me be more efficient. So after we handle that command, we can type const result is equals to math, because we're calling the math function, remember, that we created here, this math function. We're calling our math function, and we're gonna pass in 3 parameters: operation, first number, and second number, like that. So we pass in 3 parameters, and we just type interaction.reply right? The reply is the result of the first number. So let's say we open the string literal, first number, then the operation. It can be plus. So first number plus the second number is result, like that. Alright, so after we save this, let's go get nodemon to be online. Okay, let's type slash mathematic. Operation is subtract. We are subtracting 50 from 20 from 50, so it should be 30. So the result of 50 minus 20 is 30. So as you guys can see, that's how we perform operations with choices and options. So divide, if I say 20 divided by 5, it's going to give me 4. That's how you return a function like that. So you're creating a function in the back end, and you are returning it to the front end through Discord.js. So let me close this. Alright, so the next thing we need to learn how to do is creating a yes/no API. So if you guys go to the website called yesno.wtf, you will see that this website actually returned us a yes or no like GIF or GIF based on a random chances. So if I refresh it, it's gonna say yes. Just now it said no. Now if we click, there's an API here, right? So if we go here to the link and type /API, they're gonna give us an API which has the value of answer, the value of force, and the value of images. This image is going to be the image or the GIF. Alright, so now we need to create a new function here called yes/no, so that we can fetch the data here. So what we need to do now is go to command.js. Oh, before we do that, we need to close our terminal and type npm install Axios. Okay, so let's install Axios for now. After we install Axios, go to create a new file under the feature called yesno.js. You can name it whatever you want, but I'm going to name it yesno.js. And I recommend that you follow along in case there's some problem later. So yesno.js, just type constant Axios equal to require Axios. So we are importing that file, and type async, because we're going to create an API call, function yesno with an empty array, and we're just going to type try catch, and what we're going to try here is let response equal to await Axios dot get, and the get is going to be, yeah, so just now I copied it already, so it's basically yesno.wtf/API, and we're gonna get the response, right? So we're gonna return the response dot data. So this response is automatically gonna be in a JSON format, so we're just gonna return the data. Else, if there's an error, I just want to console.log the error for us to understand, and then we just module.exports equal to the structure get yes no. Okay, let me just call it get yes no, because if we just keep, yeah, because I don't want the file name to and the function name to be the same. Alright, so now that we're done with this, as you guys can see, there's only 12 lines. Go to the front end now, and I want you guys to create this, import this new thing called embed builder. Okay, so embed builder is going to help us create a little post at our Discord. You guys will see later. So go to the bottom of here. After the math function, I want you guys to create a new function called interaction.command_name equals to, let's say, yes no. So we need to have a command name called yes no before we can reply. So let's go to command. Let's copy the first one. Let's paste it like this. And in this name here, I'm going to type yes no as the command name. And I'll just say reply with random yes or no. Okay, that's going to be the description of the yes no, and I'm actually going to run it. So let me just run the command.js. After registering, it registered the command. You will see that our front end is going to have a yes no. But I also want to ask a question, so let me add a new prompt. So option is going to be, oops, I spelled it wrongly. No. Okay, so option is going to be basically a question. Okay, and the description is going to be the question to the answer, like that. Ooh, sorry guys, I forgot to open a curly bracket. Yeah, so type is going to be a string and the required is true. So let me register the command again. As you can see, if I type yes no now, it's going to have a question option here for me to enter. Okay, now after that's done, we need to go back to index.js and then just basically type let user equal to interaction dot user dot global name. So we need to get the username who asked the question, and we also have to get their question. So let question is equal to interaction dot user, more like dot option dot get string question. Okay, from this question field, I want to call the get yes no function. However, we don't have the get yes no function for now, so let's go import it here. So const get yes no equals to require dot slash feature slash yes no. So now we will be able to get access to the get yes no function like that. And this is actually going to return us a promise. So we need to use the keyword called then. And in the then we have a data. And this data is going to have a callback function, which what we'll do is we'll create an embed builder. So const embed equals to new embed builder. We're going to be building an embed. And in this embed, we're going to actually set the title of the question is going to be equal to the user. So user asked a question. All right, and the description, set this description is going to be data.answer. So data.answer essentially is the data.answer is the answer here. So as you can see, it's called answer. The next thing we need is the image. So let's go to the VS Code here. Set image data.image, like that. Oh, don't put semicolon. Okay, so let's set data.image. So now that we're done with this, we need to reply. So interaction dot reply embeds, like that. And after that, let's say this failed to send, we have to catch an error, right? So dot catch an error, and we have to console log the error. So let me see what's the problem. Okay, that's okay, I'll just type it manually. Okay, console log error, like that. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Basically like that. Okay, so you save this for now. And let's try it out at our front end. So let's open Node1. Okay, Teddy is now online. Let's test it in our front end. So yes, no. And then I'll ask the question, are you okay? Okay, it's not gonna respond. Let me check what's the error here. Unknown adapter. Let me open this path. Let me check what's wrong. So essentially we cannot get this item. Okay, let's check. So over in yes no, we're basically running this get yes no function to get the API. Oh, it's because we're using get adapter. We shouldn't use get adapter, we should use get. I don't know why it's get adapter. I think there's an autocomplete by GitHub Copilot. Okay, never mind. I removed the adapter already. So now let me just go type again, yes no, and then are you okay, question mark, and it's going to say yes, and it's going to give me a little emoji, like a GIF here. So if I ask another question, for example, should I go to school tomorrow? Question mark. It's gonna give me another yes. All right, like that. So this is working. So congratulations if you make it this far and everything is working. You are now ready to use Gemini. So now that we are done with all the slash command, we have learned that we can trigger a response if we type, for example, good bear. We can trigger a response if we type slash hey, for example. Now we need to learn how to trigger a response using @mention. So if I tag Teddy, I want Teddy to trigger Gemini. So let's just get that thing working. So first of all, please go to the website and type Gemini documentation and click on the first one. In the first one, go to the Node.js tab here on the left side and go and click on get an API key. Alright, so for me, I already have an API key, but for you, you might not have. So just create an API key if you haven't. If you have, click on it, click copy, and then go to your VS Code. Under your .env file, click on Gemini API key equals to paste, and click on save. Make sure that your key is exactly as it is. After that, create a new file called Gemini.js, like that. Okay. Now that you've created a new file called Gemini.js, I want you to close your terminal and type nodemon, type npm install @google. Oh, actually don't do this. Go to the website and you will see this thing called npm install @google. So just copy it and then right click into your terminal and enter. So it's going to install the Google generative AI library, and after that you have to go back to the documentation and then copy only the first 2 lines here of the next one. So it's called initialize the generative model. So let me just paste it inside here. So instead of calling it process.env underscore API key, we have to type Gemini API key, because in our env file we call it Gemini API key. So let's call it Gemini API key, and in order for us to get that variable, we need to require .env.config, like that. Alright, so after we're done with that, let's create a function. Let's go scroll down and let's find this async function. So copy the async function. This is going to help us generate text from text only input. So copy the async function and then basically paste it inside here. And I'm going to modify this function. So instead of calling it run, I'm going to call it run Gemini Pro, because the model is called Gemini Pro. And instead of using a hard-coded prompt like this, I'm going to delete the prompt. And I'm going to put a prompt parameter into this function. And instead of logging the result, okay, this is fine, response is fine, this is fine, but instead of logging the text into console, I will return the text. So return the text without bracket, and instead of running the command here, I'm actually going to run it to the front end. So let me just module.exports equals to run Gemini Pro, like that. So that's basically it, I think. Let me see if I missed anything. Let me read my code. Seems like everything is fine. So let me go back to index.js, go to the top and click on constant, run Gemini Pro equals to require features /feature /Gemini. And at the bottom here, we will find the message create listener. So let me just minimize this for now, and let me minimize this. Alright, so please find the message create function, and let me just create a new if condition. So if message.content dot message dot, let's say message dot mentions dot has bot dot user dot id Okay, so essentially what this does is it will check whether the message includes a bot's mention. So if it does have a mention, I want it to basically create a prompt variable. Oh, hold on, guys. Okay, sorry guys, I'm back. So const prompt is equal to message.content.replace. Alright, see, remember in the Discord, right? If we type tag Teddy, what is the area of a circle with radius of 5? If we were to do it like this, it's going to send at Teddy what is the area of a circle with a radius of 5 to Gemini. But we don't want the Teddy tag, we only want the question. So we need to replace that tag with something else. So let's replace the tag, which is slash at exclamation mark question mark. We have to open the bracket first. And then after the tag we have the digit. And then I think that's it. So it's basically slash open angle bracket and then at exclamation mark question mark backslash d plus close angle bracket and then angle bracket and then a slash g, and then you have to open a normal empty string and just type trim like that. Okay, so you're replacing the add tag with a bunch of digit with nothing globally. Now that's done, you have to const response equals to await run Gemini Pro prompt. Okay. So since this is await, we need to make the function asynchronous. Okay, now the error is gone. I want to message.reply response. Okay, so let me just wrap all these things in a try catch block. So try catch, and then we will basically console.log an error if there's any error. And before we do any prompt sending, we need to console.log waiting for Gemini. And after that, we need to just console.log Gemini replied. So it helps us to understand which stage we are at. Okay, so now that this is done, let's go back to our bot and we have to get it online, of course. So nodemon. Okay, it's online. Let me just enter. So it's gonna say waiting for Gemini, and then it says Gemini replied. So as you can see, Gemini replied the area of a circle in the given formula, area is equal to pi r square, where r is the radius of the circle. So this so 25 pi is the square unit. So that's basically the reply that Gemini have given us, and essentially that's pretty good. It means it's working already. Let's test another case. So at Teddy, what is the height of KLCC in Malaysia? It's gonna basically reply us 451.9 meters. So that's the reply. That's the height of KLCC in Malaysia. Now, but the problem with this is actually that sometimes there's gonna have a problem where we have a too long of a response. So if we type, for example, tell me about birds in 500 words, like that, right? So it's gonna wait for Gemini, and it's gonna reply. So just wait for a while. So Gemini replied. Do you see that it says Gemini replied and then it crashes? Okay, Gemini replied and then it crashed. Okay, here's the thing. In Discord, there's a word limit. If your response is way too long, let me copy and paste into Discord. You will see that you need Nitro. You need to buy Discord Nitro in order for us to send the message to the front end. So this is what the bot is experiencing. That's why it's having an error. The message is way too long. So in this case, we have to create a function to split the text into two parts. So instead of pasting all at once, we will split the text into two, and we will send it in two chunks, so two messages like that. So in order for me to do that, let's go to the Gemini.js file. Okay, in Gemini.js, I'm going to create a function. So let me just label Gemini Pro. Okay, I'm just going to create a new function called split response. Now, so it's function split response. Okay, essentially this split response is going to take in a consideration the maximum chunk amount, which is currently 2000 in Discord. So 2000 word limit, character limit. So let chunk equals to open an empty array, and in this empty array, I'm going to create a for loop. So let I is equals to 0, I is less than response dot length, and then I is plus equals to max chunk length, like that. So it's going to iterate through the total response, take 2000 words from it, put it into the first chunk, and then take the next 2000 words and put it into a second chunk until there's no more words left. Now, after that, I want it to chunks.push into push the response into the array. So we're pushing the response into chunks. Chunks is the array. Okay, and finally we need to return chunks, like that. So module export, run Gemini Pro, and split response. Split response, like that. Let's go back to index.js. Under here, let's just type split response, like that. And then let's go to the try catch block here. So we need to try if, let's say, the response is more than 2000 words. So wait for this. We're getting this right. All right. After we get the prompt, after we get the response right, before we reply, we need to check something. So if response dot length is greater than 2000, now this is a problem, right? So we have to type let our const chunks equals to split response. Okay, so chunks dot for each, we're going to reply each chunk one by one. So chunk callback function message dot reply chunk. So instead of replying the response as a big, like 2000 word plus, we're going to break it down to small chunk, and for each of the chunk we're going to reply the small chunk only if the response is more than 2000 words. Otherwise, we will basically just like we have to create else statement, else message dot reply response. So we can just reply the response because it's safe to reply. And if there's any error, just cache the error. So that's basically what this code does. Let's go back here and let's type the same thing again. So Teddy, before that, let me just, okay, it's online. Make sure it's online. So Teddy, tell me about capybara in 500 words. So it's basically going to send me two texts, I think. So over here it's going to say waiting for Gemini, and it's going to say Gemini responded in a bit. Alright, so as you can see, it says Gemini replied, but there's no error. And over here you can see there's two messages. So the first messages is here, and the second messages is here. As you can see, the lagoon is split into two. This is a little unpleasant, but it is what we have to deal with since Discord has a limitation. But essentially, this whole block, these two messages, relates back to just this question. Okay, and you can track it by looking at the reply. See, it tells you that it's replying to this question. That's how you do it. Now, lastly, we're going to look at Gemini Vision Pro. So Gemini Vision Pro is essentially a model that allows you to upload an image, and they can basically analyze the image and give you an output. So essentially, it's a little more complicated, but it can help you analyze your images. So let's create a function for us to upload our image to Discord and let Gemini reply. So how do we do that? First, we have to copy the run function again. Okay, wait, before that, let's look at this code. We already have generative AI, but we don't have FS, file system. So let's copy file system and let's paste it into Gemini. Like that. Okay? After we have that, we already have this API key ready, but we don't have this function file to generate path. So copy that. Under the API key, paste this here. So essentially what this does, if you might be wondering, what it does is that it has this function called file to generative path, and it takes in two parameters. The first is the file path, the second one is the file type. So the file type can be images, it can be video, it can be GIF. It depends on what you're uploading lah. But the file type, this is the file type. So it's going to return inline data buffer from FS file system dot read file sync path. So you're reading the file from the path, converting it to a string of base 64. Now here's the thing. When a machine is reading an image, so for example, image to base 64, okay, when a machine is reading an image, they can't really read an image, so they need to convert it to base 64. So if I, let's say, upload an image, right, it's gonna convert this image here to this thing. So let me just select all, copy, and it's gonna basically convert it into this thing. Let me just show you. This is what the machine is reading. Okay, so us as a human, we read the image like this. We look at, oh, this is a reindeer and there's a teddy bear behind the reindeer. But the machine, they read it like this. So that's basically what the function is doing. The function is basically taking in, reading a file from a path, and after that adding it to a buffer and converting it to base 64 and basically storing it into a data. And also it's returning the file type at the same time. Alright, so that's basically what the function is doing. And after that, let's go back to the documentation, and under the async function run here, okay, so since it's, okay, that's why you guys see why I renamed it, because both the function is called run. So this is Gemini Pro, right? I'm gonna go over type here, Gemini Pro Vision. So this is the other function. So this is gonna run Gemini Pro Vision, and that's why it's got the Gemini Pro Vision model. Prompt, essentially it will do the same thing. So prompt, instead of hard coding it, we're gonna put it inside the parameter, and then instead of getting two images, we are only going to get one image, because it's very complicated if we get two image. So we just we're gonna replace this with the path and the image type, MIME type, like that. So you can see that file to generative path is actually this function that we call above. Yeah, like that. And instead of running run, we just remove that, and we're gonna export run Gemini Pro Vision. Yeah, and instead of console logging the text, I want to return the text like that. And let me check the response here. Everything seems perfectly fine. I think I've already fixed most of the problems here to make it adaptable to Discord's use cases. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And okay, let's go back to the front end. We're almost done with this entire application. So what we need to do now is to create a function that checks whether an attachment is involved. If there is an attachment, we are going to use Gemini Pro Vision. If there's no attachment, we're going to use Gemini Pro. So in order for us to do that, let's go to the front end. Let's go to the front end here, and let's type we have to import a few things. So const path equals to require. Oh, let me just import it here at the top. Const path equals to require path. Const fs equals to require fs. Const https equals to require https. The reason why we need to do this is because for us, in order for me to upload a picture, I have to upload in Discord, right? but Gemini cannot access the Discord server, the picture, so we have to download the picture into our own devices in our file and then send it to Gemini. Okay, so at the bottom here, let's modify the function. So under the try and catch block, I'm going to just type / universal. So this is universal. We have to run the app, but we shouldn't run the Gemini Pro here. Okay, let me just declare a new few things first. So const prom. Our prom is already declared. Const local path. Okay, we cannot const, we must use let, because local path might change. Equals to null. Let MIME type equals to null. Alright, and essentially we will add this to the bottom of this, and then this is going to be Gemini Pro. Okay, so universal means no matter if we're using Gemini Pro model or Gemini Pro Vision model, we still need to declare everything here. Then this section is going to only be relevant to Gemini Pro, and we're going to have another section that is only relevant to Gemini Vision Pro. Okay, so now we have to create a function called if message.attachment.size is more than 0. So let's say the message is more than 0, if got image execute Gemini Vision model. Alright, so let attachment equals to message.attachment.first, getting the first attachment. Let URL equals to attachment.url. MIME type, so this is what we already declared, right? Equals to attachment.content type. Let file name equals to attachment.name. Alright, else if no image execute Gemini Pro Vision, Gemini Pro model, sorry. Yeah. Alright, so here we're just gonna type this one, const response everything. I think we can copy and paste the whole thing here. Let me check. We can copy until the else statement. Oh, actually no. Copy until here. Just don't copy the catch statement, and then paste inside here. So let's just fix the indentation. Okay, yeah, let me fix the indentation. Hold on. Okay. Oh man, it's so ugly. Let me. Why is it so weirdly indented? I'll highlight everything and just format document. Oh, I can't do that. Okay, it's fine. Let me just format it by myself. So after this console log, I think this can be. Okay, this is fine actually. It works perfectly fine. Alright, now that we're done with that, we essentially have a model that has images and execute Gemini Vision. If no images, execute the Gemini Pro model. And this is the code that we have. Now we need to check whether these things work. I don't think it works for now because there's no path in images here. So we have to create a path for images first. So where's the Gemini Pro model? It's right here. Alright, so we declare local path is equals to path.join directory name, exit this directory, which is currently the src folder, and we have to go into a new folder called images, and then we have to paste the file name inside. Okay, so we have to basically create a new image file. Wait, not in src. Images, like that. Okay. Then after that, we have to let file equals to fs.create write stream, and we have to write everything into the local path. Then, after we've already wrote everything inside, we have to https.get URL, and we have a response. And from this response, we're going to return a callback, and this callback is going to have response.pipe file. So we're going to combine the file and put it inside, and file on complete or on finish downloading or finish writing, we are going to have an async here because we need to wait, and open a callback. It's going to try catch const response equals to await run Gemini provision prompt local path MIME type. Yes, that's exactly what we need. But over here in the Gemini.js, we need to also have prompt path MIME type, 3 things. This way we can send all 3 things over to the other side. And then if the response dot length is actually more than 2000, we need to actually do the same thing here. So const chunk split response chunks for each reply, like that. So that's what we need to do. Else we just have to reply the response. That's it. And we will continue, and we will cache the error. So the error is going to be console.log error, and it's going to message.reply. Sorry, I couldn't process the image. Please try again later. Else, if there's no image, use the Gemini Pro model, and it's going to run this. Let me just fix the indentation. Yeah, much better. Alright. So now this is done. Let me just open a new file. Let's upload something, like for example this. So let me ask at Teddy, what is this? So as you can see, it's downloaded the image into my folder here, and it's currently waiting for Gemini to respond. Oh, I don't think there's a Gemini responded. Okay, never mind. The image shows a needle felted fox. Okay, the reason why it didn't say Gemini responded is because after I replied, it didn't say Gemini replied. So let me just go over here. And then, yeah, now it should say Gemini replied. So that's essentially what it does. So let me just upload another file. Let me go to, maybe not this one. Maybe let's go to the, okay, what is this? Oh, let me tag Teddy first. What is this animal? So it's going to say waiting for Gemini, and it will say responded later. Okay, Gemini replied, and you can see there's a 1 notification in Discord. This is a plush toy of a deer. It has brown and white fur, and its antlers are gold. So it's correct. And with that, as well as this, we essentially learn how to deal with different API. And congratulations, you guys have successfully completed the workshop. if you guys need help or you guys need any guidance, feel free to visit the GDSC GitHub. So if you go to the GitHub, there is actually a GDSC API link, and I uploaded the repository to the workshop here. So you guys can just look at my code and see how I work on it, and that's it. Congratulations. I hope you guys enjoy the workshop. I'm sorry that I'm a little bit fast today. It's because yeah, I have some assignments to do. So this is this is the whole workshop. Sorry for not being able to complete it that day. There was just a lot of issues, but I hope you guys enjoy. So without further ado, if you guys have any feedback, please send me your feedback here in the QR code. And if not, thank you for coming to my first GDSC workshop. I hope you have fun. Once again, I'm Dalton from the GDSC App Development Department, and I'm the co-lead. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and yeah, see y'all.